Hello everybody and welcome back to another video, and today we are reviewing episode 9 of WandaVision, the series finale. So there is a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try to remember to talk about everything, but there is a lot. Just like all the other ones, I'm going to start without spoilers, and I'm going to get into some spoilers. So, let's get started. So this episode was really epic and cool, and it was also pretty emotional. And it also does have 2 end credit scenes. So there's one after like the colorful credits, and then and then there's one after the the other credits. I don't know what they're called. I didn't really have any complaints about this episode, except I was kind of expecting more action because it was the finale, and I feel like we didn't get as much as we should have gotten, but oh well. It was still pretty good. So I think we're gonna start getting into some spoilers now, because I don't know how to talk about this episode without spoilers. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this episode, click away and come back after you've seen it. I'll give you 3 more seconds to click away. Now let's talk about some spoilers. So this episode was awesome. So let's try to talk about everything. So it starts off right where the last episode left off, with Agatha choking Billy and Tommy, and we see that she starts absorbing Wanda's powers, and because of that, Wanda's hands start to look like zombie hands, kind of like the witches that Agatha absorbed during in Salem. And then something cool is that Wanda throws a car at her, which reminded me of what she did to Iron Man in Civil War. And then but when she goes over to where the car is, she disappeared. Agatha disappeared, except for her boots, kind of like Wizard of Oz. And then White Vision appears and comes up to Wanda. Wanda's like, oh my gosh, is it really you? And then White Vision decides to try to crush her head because he's just that mean of a person. And then the other Vision, Hex Vision, I guess you could call him, shows up, and we see him beat up White Vision a little bit, which was pretty epic to see. And then we also see that Vision forgives Wanda for lying, because now that he has memories, he knows everything of what happened leading up to this. He understands why Wanda did what she did. So, yeah. So, moving on, when the Visions are fighting, White Vision goes straight for the Mind Stone, so he knows that's not what I wanted to hit. He knows exactly how to kill a Hex Vision, but Vision does face through it, so White Vision doesn't kill him. So after that, back outside the Hex, Wu tells Hayward that he has friends coming, and then once he calls his friends. We see that. I wish he had a bigger role in this episode, but he didn't. Oh well, I guess. And then the mailman also, when he's driving past, Wanda's looking for Agatha. He says, "Don't shoot, I'm just a messenger," which is kind of like what he said in the first episode. So that was kind of weird. I'm not sure if there was a reason to that or not. Maybe it was just to be like, oh yeah, it's coming full circle. I don't know. And then we get to Agatha talking to Wanda, and Agatha says there's a whole chapter devoted to her in the Darkhold, which they confirm that the book we saw in her basement is the Darkhold. And then she reads from that book saying, the Scarlet Witch is not born, she is forged, and she has no covenant like Agatha did. Wanda insists that she's not a witch, and that no one ever taught her magic, but Agatha says her powers exceed that of the Sorcerer Supremes, which confirms that Scarlet Witch is more powerful than Doctor Strange himself, and I think that might have a factor in Doctor Strange 2, because Wanda's gonna be in it, so I have a feeling we're gonna talk about that a little bit, and I'm not sure if she's necessarily gonna be a villain or not. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah. So then Agatha breaks breaks, well, Dottie at first. Breaks Dottie free of the control. And Dottie, I forget what her real name was. It's not actually Dottie. I think it was like Sarah or something like that. I don't remember. She says that she just wants to hold her kid again. She's like, hey, can you make him friends with your boys, or maybe even the school bully, whatever storyline you'd rather. Anyway, I could just hold him again.
Hey, take it easy.
And then it flashes to Pietro and Monica in Agatha's, I believe it was attic. And we find out that Pietro is actually Ralph Boner. The husband that Agatha was always talking about is Ralph Boner. So, kind of disappointing that he's not Fox X-Men Pietro, but I kind of saw that coming. I was like, after we got to episode 9, once we got to that episode, I was like, I'm starting to think he's not really the Fox X-Men Pietro. But moving on, we also find out that she was mind controlling him, as well as giving him speed powers through the necklace that he had. So Monica rips it off, and now he's Ralph again. And then we also see Billy uses his speed to see what's...
I didn't see you there, sir.
Or, sorry. He uses his mind powers to see what's happening, and he sees the next scene before it happens, which is kind of interesting, because the next scene, Agatha, like, removes Wanda's control over everyone in Westview, and there's just complete chaos. They're saying how they're tired, it feels like torture, they hate it, they can't be with their loved ones. And then Wanda insists that they're fine, she's keeping them safe and at peace, but they say that they have her nightmares, and they feel her pain. And then because of all the chaos, all the people arguing and yelling, Wanda accidentally loses it looks like, a little bit, and puts like these collar type things around their necks, and it starts choking them. But she wow, they're running into each other. But she quickly takes that off of them to try to keep them alive. But Mrs. Hart says, if you won't let us go, at least let us die. Which, that has to explain how bad it must be for them. So, I guess that means it is really bad. And then Agatha says, do it now, Wanda. Heroes don't torture people. And then that's when she opens up the hex and lets all the people of Westview get out. But Hayward and the rest of his agents get into SWORD this way. So they drive their vehicles in. But because of the hex being open, Billy, Tommy, and Vision start pretty much dying. They start coming apart, and the way they come apart actually looks like the House of M cover. Because in the House of M cover, you see Wanda coming apart, and she looks kind of like, it kind of looks like puzzle pieces as it's coming apart. And that's almost exactly like how Vision, Billy, and Tommy look when they're coming apart. It looks like puzzle pieces like House of M, which was kind of cool. So, yeah, and then she closes the barrier again to try to keep them alive. And then we get this awesome shot of Wanda, Vision, Billy, and Tommy in this, like, cool superhero pose, which was awesome. And then Vision says, boys, we never really prepared you for this. And then Wanda says, but you were born for it, which really is true.
What do you mean the price doesn't
because both their parents are Avengers, and hopefully they'll become young Avengers. I think they will because of the end credit scene, which I will talk about later. And then we see Vision fight White Vision, Wanda fight Agatha, and Billy and Tommy fight off the military. Because Wanda goes, boys, fight off the military, I'll handle, oh, mommy will be right back. So that's what happens, and it was pretty awesome. Vision stops his fight, though, by saying, I'm not the real Vision, just a temporary one. And then they start talking. And then flashback to Billy and Tommy. Tommy steals one of the guards' hat, which is kind of funny because that's similar to what Quicksilver did in the X-Men movies. I think it was Days of Future Past he did that. He stole the one guy's hat. And then we see Hayward being a full-on evil jerk because he pulls up his gun, gets ready to shoot Billy and Tommy because he's a terrible person. But Monica jumps in the way, and the bullets, like, I don't know how to explain it, they like go through her, And then, but they drop as soon as they go right through her. Like, they fall straight to the ground. She does miss one bullet. It goes right past her head. And Billy uses his powers to stop it and put it on the floor. And they have this funny saying where they go, where Monica says, "Nice tricks." And Billy goes, "Oh, I like yours too." And then Hayward, because he's a coward, tries to drive away. And then Darcy crashes the funnel cake truck into his truck. And she says, "Have fun in prison." Then Hex Vision gives White Vision his memories back, so he sees what happened in Age of Ultron, in Civil War, and Infinity War. He sees being created, helping the Avengers fight Ultron, falling in love with Wanda, fighting Cap and Wanda, being killed by Wanda and by Thanos. So now he has all the memories, and then he says, "I have Vision," and then flies away. And because of this, I think there is a chance Vision could come back in the MCU, because that's his body, and now he has all the memories. Whether or not he'll have his emotions back or not, I don't know. There's a chance he'll still be emotionless, but now he does have all the memories back, so I think he's a good guy, at least as of right now. And then moving on, Wanda gives Agatha a nightmare using her powers. I don't think we've actually seen since Age of Ultron, because I don't think she used it in Civil War or Infinity War. And then, so in the nightmare, they go back to the witch trials, and the dead witches come back to life, all zombie-like, but they turn on Wanda because they know she is the Scarlet Witch. And then the magical crown appears on her head, which I guess that's what it's called, a crown in the comic books too, because in the comic books it's that head piece that she has. I never knew what it was called. I guess it's a crown. But Wanda does break out of it, and then she blasts Agatha, but she absorbs it. So then they go into this fight in the sky where she shoots, some hits blast Agatha, some hit the Hex, and Agatha's absorbing her powers. Wanda's dying, and then Agatha says, "This world you made will always be broken, just like you." But when she tries to blast Wanda, she can't, because Wanda put the ruins on the Hex. So then Wanda gets the upper hand and takes her down, which is kind of funny because Agatha told her about the ruins in the first place. And then we see her become the Scarlet Witch. She gets this awesome looking suit, which is a lot more comic book accurate, and she is now all powerful. She is the Scarlet Witch, and Agatha says, "You don't know what you've done." Then Scarlet Witch tells her that she's gonna just trap her as the character she chose, nosy neighbor Agnes, and that's exactly what she does. But before that, she goes, "I'm sorry," but then Agatha says, "No, you're not, you're cruel." And then she also says, "You have no idea what you've unleashed. You'll need me." And the Scarlet Witch just says, "Oh, and if I do, I don't know where to find you." And I think she is talking about what we will see in Doctor Strange 2. So, I think that she's talking about the villain of Doctor Strange 2. We don't know who that will be yet.
Most important law.
We don't know who that will be yet, but I think it will be. She's talking about the Doctor Strange 2 villain. I think that whatever her awakening her powers alerted someone powerful, whether it's Mephisto or Nightmare, which I think Nightmare might be the villain of Doctor Strange 2, but I could be wrong. I think that this is going to be led into Doctor Strange 2, and I also think Agnes or Agatha will return eventually. Maybe she'll return Doctor Strange 2, or maybe she'll return later on down the line, because she's still alive.
Do you have a second?
So,
don't worry.
You never know. Then Wanda says, "I'll be seeing you," but Agnes says, "Not if I see you first," which, again, could be a foreshadowing what will be coming soon. And then Scarlet Witch slowly takes down the Hex, and then she has this emotional goodbye with everyone. Wanda tells her boys, "Family is forever. We can never truly leave each other, even if we tried," which is true in more ways than one. Because one, she will always have the memory of Billy, Tommy, and Vision, so in a way, they never will leave her. But it's also true in another way, because, like the end credits scene shows, Billy and Tommy might not be dead after all, but we'll talk about that more later. So they put Billy and Tommy to bed, and she says, "Thanks for choosing me to be your mom," which I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. So does this mean anything important? Because I know some theories out there is that maybe they were plucked from the multiverse, which I'm not sure if I believe that theory yet. It's possible, so I am very curious if that will have any meaning. And then Wanda and Vision have this emotional goodbye, where Wanda gives a speech because Vision says he wants to know who he is, and Wanda tells him, "You are a piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me. You are a body of wires and blood and bone that I created. You are my sadness, my hope, but mostly you're my love." And they share one last kiss. And then Vision dies for the 3rd time. Are you crying yet? No? Okay, don't worry, you will. So, and then everything kind of goes back to normal, but now the people of Westview hate Wanda. And this could be a setup for the X-Men. Because the main story of the X-Men, at least at first, is that people are afraid of them and they hate them and they're hunting them down. But in the Infinity Saga, it looks like heroes are, for the most part, loved, at least till Civil War. So I think now now that they hate Wanda and they know she's, oh, they don't know she's a mutant, but they know that she has superpowers, this could be set up for people to hate X-Men when they come around. So maybe, or I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, and they just hate her because, well, it makes sense for the story. And then she apologizes to Monica, and Monica forgives her, and they say goodbye. And Monica says good luck. So, and Wanda might need it, especially with Doctor Strange 2 coming up. And then Wanda leaves, and then the end. Well, kinda, because now we have the first end credit scene. In the end credit scene, they show Hayward does get arrested, and one of the sword agents is a Skrull, and they come for Monica, and the Skrull says, "I was sent by an old friend of your mother's. He heard you've been grounded, and he would like to meet you." And we find out that that Skrull wants to take Monica to that agency type place that we saw in the end credit scene for Spider-Man Far From Home. We don't know who exactly that friend is. I think it's Nick Fury. Maybe I'm wrong. It could be anyone. I've heard some people say Captain Marvel, maybe, but the scroll said he's, so I think it might be Nick Fury, but I could be wrong. And that, I'm pretty sure, is set up for Captain Marvel 2. And then we get a second end credit scene that shows Wanda is in a cabin far away from other people, but she's using astral projection, which we saw in Doctor Strange. But her physical body is getting tea, as her spiritual body or whatever is reading the Darkhold. Which, one, this shows that she is more powerful than Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange, whenever he does astral projection, his physical body is always sleeping or unconscious. But Wanda is able to control her physical body as she's doing other stuff. So that proves that she's more powerful. Also, she's reading the Darkhold, which is kind of suspicious. She is learning, but the Darkhold is not a very good book. It's pretty evil. And for the most part, villains use it, so... And then we get the part that kind of gets me excited, because she hears Billy and Tommy saying, "Mommy, help, please." Which is awesome. And as this happens, we actually hear the Doctor Strange score from the Doctor Strange movie, which was kind of cool. So, and then we get a flash of red, and now it's completely over. So let's talk about that end credit scene, because we heard Billy and Tommy's voices. So my theory was they're probably not going to survive the Hex, but they'll probably come back to life somehow. And it looks like I might be correct, because they technically did die because of the Hex being taken down, but she heard their voices. And I think this might have a key role in Doctor Strange 2. I think Wanda will be going to find her kids. Whether or not she will be a protagonist or an antagonist in Doctor Strange 2, I have no idea. Because I feel like the way they ended it, it could be either or. Because she didn't seem like that bad of a person when at the end when she was flying away. But it's very suspicious that she was reading the Darkhold. That's kind of being like, ooh, maybe she will be a villain, but I don't know. And if Billy and Tommy do come back, I think that's even more setup for the Young Avengers, which would be awesome. Because we know we're getting Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. We already have Cassie Lang, she just needs to get her suit. So, they could easily have the Young Avengers happen. Also, we have like Ironheart and Miss Marvel who could become potential members coming. So, I think the Young Avengers will come eventually. And I think Billy and Tommy will help set that up.
Good to have you with us.
So, that's pretty much my full thoughts on WandaVision. The show as a whole, because this was the final episode, is I really enjoyed it. I'm hoping to make another review talking about it as a whole. But what did you guys think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was awesome and action-packed? Did you want more action? How did you feel about all those theories not being true? Because people were theorizing Mephisto was going to show up, Pietro was going to be the Fox X-Men Quicksilver, and none of those theories turned out to be true. Also, Paul Bettany, it was kind of mean to us because he was like, oh, there's going to be a huge cameo, someone he's always wanted to work with, which turned out was just himself. But I have to admit, that was kind of funny. So, were you disappointed by this episode, or were you like, yes, this episode was awesome? The only thing that disappointed me, the theory's not coming true, that was kind of disappointing, but I didn't really care. That doesn't hurt how I felt about the episode. The only thing that disappointed me, kinda, was I was hoping for more action, but it still wasn't bad of an episode. So, if you want to see more reviews, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you know when I post and go live. I have reviewed every episode of WandaVision, so please check that out if you're interested. I also have gameplay walkthroughs, so subscribe for that. And if you like this, hit like. Thank you for taking time to watch, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Salutations.